Hometown Ghost Stories contains serious and often distressing events and is not intended for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
On the afternoon of December 5th, 1945, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers took off from the U.S. Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a routine training exercise. The group, known as Flight 19, was led by Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor, a veteran pilot with more than 2,500 flight hours and wartime experience in the Pacific. Their mission, called Navigation Problem 1, involved a bunch of overwater maneuvers before returning to base. At first, everything went according to plan. The squadron reached Hen and Chicken Shoals, dropped their practice bombs, and continued on schedule. But by around 4 o'clock p.m., radio traffic revealed trouble. One of the student pilots admitted, "I don't know where we are. We must have gotten lost after that last turn." Taylor himself reported, "Both my compasses are out, and I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down." Confused, he steered the squadron east towards open ocean, while at least one pilot was heard pleading, "If we would just fly west, we'd get home." As darkness fell and weather worsened, messages grew more desperate. Operators on the ground tried to guide them, urging Taylor to switch frequencies or activate his transmitter so their position could be triangulated, but those instructions went unheeded. In their final radio exchanges, Taylor ordered the planes to tighten formation and prepare to ditch at sea. One pilot's last words were haunting. "Everything looks wrong, even the water." At 6:20 p.m., contact was lost. Flight 19 never returned. A massive search effort began immediately, covering some 300,000 square miles of ocean over 5 days, but the tragedy deepened when one of the rescue planes, a PBM Mariner carrying 13 men, also vanished after reporting a routine message. A nearby merchant ship reported seeing a fireball and later passing through an oil slick in the same area, suggesting the rescue plane exploded midair. In total, 6 aircraft and 27 men were lost that day. The Navy's official conclusion was that Taylor became disoriented and believes he was flying over the Gulf of Mexico before leading his squadron out to sea where they ran out of fuel. The PBM's disappearance was attributed to an accidental explosion, a known issue with that model. But still, no wreckage was ever found. And for many people, the disappearance of Flight 19 remains just one of the most enduring mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle to this day. Stick around and join Jesse, Rob, and me as we dig into some of the more strange and unusual mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle.
What is going on, folks, and welcome into Hometown Ghost Stories Dark Mysteries. Today, we're covering some of the dark mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. I'm joined by Dave Wilkins. I'm Jesse.
Hi, Jesse. Thanks. Yeah, I got about 7 weird occurrences from the Bermuda Triangle that I want to talk about here, and I'm excited to get into them because there's some weird shit that goes down in that area.
Do you think any of those stories are more weird than whatever Jesse just did for that introduction?
Well, I introduced Dave. I realized I forgot to introduce myself. We're also joined by Rob, who's coming from a triangle of his own, the Bridgewater Triangle.
Yeah, the Bridgewater Triangle. There's so many triangles in the world. Some say.
Too many.
Yeah.
I was reading a book on it.
A book on triangles?
It was a kid's book. I struggled. But you got to start with the easy books.
Yeah.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, so Bermuda Triangle, weird place apparently, and I got the pleasure of sailing through the Bermuda Triangle a couple of weeks ago myself and survived, thankfully. Right. And I'm back to tell the tale, but it's a weird area, obviously, because of all the stuff that's gone down there. I'm sure everybody's heard of the Bermuda Triangle. If you haven't, we're going to tell you a little bit about it. But throughout history, there's been about 50 ships that have gone missing and about 20 aircraft. And it's estimated, even though it's not exactly known how many people altogether, that about 426 lives have been lost of people gone missing in the Bermuda Triangle. And
That is staggering number of ships. I mean, the people is a lot, but when you start adding up, what was it, 40 or 50 ships and then 20 aircraft?
yeah,
That is staggering.
Yeah, it is not just known shipwrecks, right? It's things that are like that have gone missing and they never found any trace of it. So it's a big area, right? So it's based like the triangle itself basically connects. It starts in Bermuda, and then there's the second point is Puerto Rico, and the third point is Miami. So it's that kind of like triangle space of the Atlantic Ocean that's kind of like south of Bermuda.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was down there, we were in the triangle very briefly because the triangle starts in Bermuda and goes south from there. So when we were leaving the island, the boat kind of just wrapped around the island, almost like it was intentionally trying to go through the triangle. It's like, did you have to do that? Couldn't you just done like a 3-point turn? And avoided it?
Have you ever tried a 3-point turn a fucking cruise ship before?
Believe it or not, I haven't tried that.
What?
You should have asked them if you could do it.
Yeah.
They'll let you drive. You just got to ask.
You just got to ask.
I bet the captains have been asked ridiculous questions like, can you just back up? We don't really want to go through the actual triangle.
Yeah, maybe they're asking questions like, where are the sails? Since Dave said he sailed to Bermuda.
Sailing. What would you call it? Cruise through, I guess. Yeah. Whatever.
I don't know. What do you call you lumbered your way to Bermuda? I don't know. Cruise ships are so big. Like, I don't even know what you would call that. You meandered your way to Bermuda.
I think meander means walk leisurely. I think that's probably the least likely.
I think that's the most accurate way to describe the way a cruise ship moves.
A leisurely walk through the Bermuda Triangle. But yeah, let's dig right into some of these crazy ones. The first, I started with the Flight 19 one because it's one of the most eerie, just because of that last transmission from one of the pilots where he said everything looks off or everything looks wrong, even the water. It's like, what could he have even meant by that?
Yeah, that does sound eerie.
And then just no one ever heard from them again. And
you know what else is eerie is I actually Googled how many triangles are there, and Google couldn't come up with an answer.
Yeah, I bet.
That's really eerie.
Yeah,
I just can't wait to for whatever reason, probably something that we talked about on this show, when the FBI finally seizes my computer to see, like, why am I Googling dead people every week or whatever. They look at my search history and they'll see how many triangles are there. They're like, oh, never mind, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, he's just a moron.
Just
get out of there.
He doesn't even know how many triangles there are.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Dude,
3.
He probably doesn't even know how big a circle is.
Next Google search. All right, carry on with your business.
Yeah, so that was weird because that was just like, what was it, 6 planes, and they all just went missing, no trace. And typically when something goes missing, this is 1945, so technology wasn't great back then compared to what it is now. But even if a number of planes that large goes missing, even in the Atlantic Ocean, something's going to turn up. Something's going to wash up somewhere. They'll find a part of a plane, or they'll find like an oil slick on top of the water or something like that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No trace of any of these planes ever surfaced anywhere. And the reason that the pilot got lost, that the lieutenant specifically got lost, was because he said all their compasses just stopped working, which is a common thing that you see in the Bermuda Triangle. Is the compasses will either give you a false reading on where north is, or they'll just spin, and they think it might have something to do with the magnetic polar fields or whatever. So not a circumstance you want to be in if you are in an unnavigable area without navigation systems. So
I actually was watching a documentary on that about pirates, and it was Jack Sparrow, and his compass was spinning, and he had to figure out what he really wanted for it to get point in the right direction. So they probably should have tried that.
Yeah, they should have. That's a great documentary, by the way.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
It's good.
But this Flight 19 was not the only instance of weird shit happening in the Bermuda Triangle and things going missing. There's also the case about a couple decades prior of the Carroll A. Deering, which was a 5-masted schooner. So on January 31st, 1921, the Carroll A. Deering was found run aground on Diamond Shoals near Cape Hatteras in North Carolina after sailing through the Bermuda Triangle region on a return voyage from Barbados to Norfolk, Virginia. So this one already starts off slightly different, where the ship didn't actually go missing, but it showed up in a shipwreck on a beach in North Carolina. So the ship had been sighted on January 29th by the Cape Lookout lightship. When the Coast Guard boarded the vessel, they found it deserted. Lifeboats, the logbook, navigational instruments were all missing. But in the galley, food had appeared to have been recently prepared. So the Coast Guard report stated, pots were still on the stove, indicating that the crew had eaten a leisurely meal of soup, spare ribs, and coffee before abandoning their ship.
Spare ribs and coffee?
It's a weird combination.
What are we doing?
It's the Bermuda Triangle, Rob. Weird shit happens.
This is the weirdest thing that's ever happened in the Bermuda Triangle.
That's actually what the whole mystery is.
Yeah. Like, yeah, the crew's gone and all, but they obviously just jumped ship. But what the fuck were they eating? A newspaper described the scene. Like a flying Dutchman, the five-masted schooner Carroll A. Deering loomed through the mists about a Diamond Shoals today, all sails set but unmanned. No trace of the crew was ever found. So a five-masted schooner is a pretty good-sized boat. So it would have had a decent-sized crew, right? It's not exactly just two guys sailing the thing.
Imagine whipping around town on a five-masted scooter. Go so fast.
How quickly could you do a 3-point turn on one of those is what I want to know.
They won't let him drive.
Faster than a cruise ship, I'd guess. But so this is obviously weird because they prepared a meal, a succulent meal of ribs, soup, and coffee, and then hopped in their lifeboats and then let the ship run ashore, and they just disappeared from existence.
What is the charge? Trying to enjoy a delicious meal of spare ribs and soup?
A succulent Bermuda Triangle meal?
But if you think about this logically, you're a crew that prepares a nice meal before you abandon ship, and there didn't appear to be anything wrong with the ship. So there was no reason for them to abandon ship, right? It crashed not because something was wrong with it, other than it had no crew, right? That's the only reason it crashed. So they abandoned the ship for no reason, but not before preparing a weird meal and then just disappearing and not ever showing up anywhere. All of the lifeboats were gone, and the crew was gone too. So very mysterious.
Do we know how many people or no?
It doesn't give me an exact number. I wonder if this here will tell me. I doubt it.
Because
no, it doesn't.
Because that is crazy. Because it got to North Carolina, so it got through the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was manned for a while after the Bermuda Triangle, you would think?
Maybe, yeah.
What makes them yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I can't even fathom a reason. And like, even if there was a reason, it's weird that they were like, all right, let's cook dinner first. So it's like the reason couldn't have been that pressing. Or they ate dinner and then discovered the reason, maybe a
giant squid.
I don't think like you see a giant squid in the water, you aren't like, get in the lifeboats.
Yeah, get in the water quick.
Yeah. Not
all right, touche.
Make sure you have a full belly first.
Yeah, really. So yeah, I can't fathom a reason. I'm gonna deviate from my script a little bit here because Rob, you just brought this up. But the separate from the stories that I was going to tell, there's a seafaring folklore tale of the Bermuda Triangle that tells of a ghostly pirate ship doomed to sail the waters. According to legend, in 1701, a pirate vessel crossing the region was attacked by a giant colossal sea creature believed to have been a giant squid, often described as a giant squid. Whoever wrote this is a dickhead. The crew perished, and their spirits were said to remain bound to the triangle. Over the centuries, fishermen and sailors have claimed to see an old ship on the horizon, sometimes accompanied by chilling cries warning them to turn back. These tales suggest that the phantom vessel is a restless spirit of that doomed pirate crew. Through such stories are regarded as legend rather than history. What an idiot, whoever wrote this, but at least It's so frustrating trying to find news stories or like articles nowadays that aren't written by ChatGPT because it's so fucking obvious when it is. This one clearly wasn't. So I'll take the redundancy.
It was a giant squid that looked exactly like a giant squid out in the water.
This one was actually written by ChatGED.
That was a good one.
Oh man.
Nice.
Well, I knew there would be giant squids when you said we were doing the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
They also had that in that pirate documentary that I watched.
Yep.
Well,
Giant
that was a
squid.
kraken. That was a kraken, which is even worse than a giant squid.
A kraken is a giant squid that looks like a giant squid, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see that, you jump right in the water with a full belly of coffee. And
It would never expect it. You have to confuse the giant squid.
Why does this human have so many ribs? Just a bunch of spare ones.
just eating the bones. Is coffee soup if you eat it with a spoon? I'm asking the important questions tonight.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, put in a bowl. Sure.
Thanks.
If I ever see
Never
one of you
drink coffee again.
lunatics, we ever go to an investigation and you just start slurping up some coffee out of a fucking bowl with a spoon, I'm leaving. Just
Oh,
letting you
yeah.
know.
1948 on January 30-ish.
Roughly around there, yeah.
around that area.
On January 30th, 1948, British South American Airways flight CS-59, otherwise known as the Star Tiger, departed the Azores for Bermuda. The Avro two-door 4 aircraft carried 25 passengers and 6 crew members. Captain Brian W. McMillan reported normal conditions during the flight, although he requested a lower altitude because of strong headwinds. At 3:15 a.m., less than an hour from Bermuda, the aircraft's last routine message was received. All is well. After that, radio operators were unable to reestablish contact. The Star Tiger never arrived, and no wreckage was ever recovered. The Civil Air Ministry report included the aircraft, its passengers, and crew vanished with no trace. No probable cause can be suggested. So, another flight that just completely disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. And what's weird about this one is everything seemed fine. There were no issues, no complaints, smooth sailing the whole way until they lost contact when the plane was in the Bermuda Triangle and it never came out. And again, no wreckage was ever found, no bodies ever washed ashore, no oil slick was discovered when they searched for it, nothing.
What's weird is that you described that plane like it was a Volvo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you went into startup mode.
To be fair, the Tudor 4 is Tudor, not two-door.
Oh, okay.
Two-door Ford aircraft.
Or 4 doors, nobody knows. Joe's garage.
25 passengers. This was clearly a clown car that went down in the Bermuda Triangle.
That's why I couldn't fly that well.
How did nobody put 2 and 2 together here?
I do love that they sent the transmission like, all is well. Oh, well, JK was the next transmission they got.
Yeah. You know, that's a theory that you don't really hear tossed around so much is what if some of these are just a pilot that loses their mind or something, right? You go back to the Flight 19 transmission where the guy was like, everything looks wrong, even the water. If people are experiencing psychosis there or something for whatever reason, you know, it could be intentional.
Well, it tracks because if you go back and you look at a lot of the flight crashes, a lot of times when they go through the transcript of what was going on between the pilot and the co-pilot, the co-pilot is suggesting, he's like, hey, we're coming in at too sharp of an angle, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. And the pilot is basically pulling the shut up, I'm right card on all of these flights. And that's their last words, because then they end up crashing and everyone dies. And it's just the job of the co-pilot, if they feel that the pilot is in a state of mind where they can't fly, is he's supposed to pull rank and take over flying the plane. But it seems like in all of these cases, the co-pilot just kind of like, okay, sure, you got it, bud. And they're afraid to actually speak up and take over. But there was like a shocking amount of these transcripts that was the exact case. So
There was one that I was listening to recently, and I don't want to get it wrong for which flight it was. I believe it was one of the Malaysia flights that went down. I'm guessing the one that was recovered, not the one that wasn't recovered, but it could have been a different one altogether. Either way, they found the transcript between the pilot and the co-pilot. They were talking, and the pilot had shut off the fuel to the engines, both of them. And when you shut off the fuel to an engine in this kind of plane, the lever that you have to pull it can only be pulled deliberately, because you have to like pull it out, lift it over, and push it back in for both engines. So you can't do it by accident. You just absolutely can't. So you hear the co-pilot, he goes, "Did you shut the fuel off to the engines?" And the pilot goes, "Nope." And then the co-pilot puts him back. He flips him back, but it was too late and the plane fell out of the sky.
Wow.
So it was just weird, because he's like, who could have?
Yeah. That sounds deliberate, obviously. The other cases that I was talking about, it didn't sound like a situation where the pilot was actively trying to crash the plane. It sounded more like arrogance, and where they're like, "Oh no, I can do this in this condition or whatever," and they just were too arrogant, and it cost everybody their lives.
Yeah. But the first plane was multiple planes, wasn't it? So
Flight 19, yeah, that was like 6 planes.
Yeah, and none of them have recovered anything, so that's what makes it still very strange.
Right. I wasn't saying all of them, would be deliberate, but I was saying, for the Flight 19 one, the most reasonable conclusion for that one, or the most common theory for that, is the lieutenant just got disoriented, got lost, and led the crew in the wrong direction. They ran out of gas.
Yeah, that's what
Still weird. They never recovered anything, but ocean big.
Ocean is big and deep,
real deep.
So after that initial stuff sinks, I mean, if you're far enough away from shore, it's probably not going to wash up ever.
Right.
So, and that oil slick is only going to be there for a certain amount of time.
True.
That's how they used to determine like kills during naval battles, was if they were trying to blow up submarines, which are obviously underneath the water in most of these cases. They would wait to see if the oil and the debris floated up to the surface or bodies, and that's how they knew that they actually got the submarine. Because otherwise, who knows? Things underwater,
Right. True. So the next one was in 1949, and on January 17th, British South American Airways Flight 138, known as the Star Ariel, departed Bermuda for Kingston, Jamaica. The Avro Tudor 5 aircraft carried 7 crew members and 13 passengers. At 9:42 a.m., Captain John Clutha McPhee reported that the flight was proceeding normally at 18,000 feet. This was the last transmission. No distress call was received, and no trace of the plane or its occupants was ever found, despite a search of more than 100,000 square miles.
Probably just up there whipping shitties.
Right. Yeah. Probably. The Civil Air Ministry concluded the cause of the loss cannot be determined. No probable cause can be suggested. The disappearance came only 1 year after the loss of the Star Tiger. So almost the exact same situation, except the flight pattern was different, going from Bermuda to Jamaica instead of Portugal to Bermuda. But both happened in the Triangle, which is weird.
That is, and that one was the Star Imperial. The other one was the Star Tiger.
Yep. Star Ariel, Star Tiger. Yep.
Star Ariel and Star Tiger. Very strange. January, very tough month, is what I will say.
Yeah, I can't think of a single good thing that ever happened in January. Oh, dude, good point. All of these were in January. Yeah. Was the first one in January?
Well, the Star Tiger one was January 30-ish, remember?
That's right. Yeah. Carol Daring, January 31st. Star Tiger, January 30th. Yeah. Star Ariel, January 17th. And I think was the first one. I don't remember. Rewind this. That's like the first sentence. No, it was December. It was the first one.
Close, though.
Yeah. The next one was close, too. February 2nd, 1963. The SS Marine Sulphur Queen, a 524-foot tanker converted to carry molten sulfur, departed Beaumont, Texas, bound for Norfolk, Virginia, with a crew of 39 men. Molten sulfur. Jesus.
I don't want that anywhere near me.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
It sounds like a nightmare.
That sounds like some supervillain shit.
Yeah, right.
Like Lex Luthor is the only one that is like, I'll get that molten sulfur and we'll take care of Superman.
En route from Beaumont, Texas to Norfolk, Virginia to the moon.
You'll smell us coming like a demon from miles away.
I know, sulfur's such a bad smell. Imagine molten sulfur.
Yeah.
Yikes. The last radio message from the ship came on February 4th near the Florida Straits. It was routine and no problems were reported. Shortly afterward,
it said, curse you, Superman!
Shortly afterward, the ship vanished. Search teams later found scattered debris, including life preservers and a name board, but no bodies or wreckage. The Coast Guard report stated, the vessel is presumed lost with all hands. The cause of disappearance is undetermined. So,
well, in fairness, I mean, like debris is kind of wreckage, you know?
Yeah, but they say like the debris was like clothing and life jackets and stuff like that.
But they didn't find any hands.
No hands, no bodies. And yeah, this was weird because a plane, you could see like a plane crashing, right? That's coming down at a high velocity, probably plunges right into the water. And they're a lot smaller than a 524-foot tanker, right?
Yeah.
So it's weird that a ship of this size would go missing. Also, probably not great that all that molten sulfur is now just in the ocean.
Yeah, probably not a good thing.
Probably not. So just another weird one.
Maybe it led to some haunted whales.
Oh, maybe.
We were talking about haunted whales last episode for people wondering why that joke was as terrible as it was. But we'll edit it out.
You could probably smell it too, right? Like in a non-funny way. Like if this ship goes down, the amount of sulfur you should be able. I mean, it's like the Great Molasses Flood of Boston. Like you just smell that for 50 years.
Yeah, I'll take molasses over rotten eggs.
Well, yeah, of course. But I'm just stating that there's a strong smell.
Yeah, absolutely. But
no, because water significantly affects the smell of sulfur.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Didn't know that.
Good.
It makes it worse.
Oh, is it really?
Water's presence allows bacteria to produce hydrogen sulfide gas, which is that rotten egg smell. Water also facilitates chemical reactions with other sulfur compounds and can activate sulfur-reducing bacteria in plumbing or waters, causing the smell. Okay.
Is it poisonous?
That was completely... I don't know how to ask a follow-up question on the website item one.
Yeah, so I wonder if when that chemical sulfur reaction happens with water, I wonder if that gas that it releases that smells funny is poisonous. Because what if that's what that happened on the ship before it sunk, and then that's what caused the ship to sink because everyone just died from some sort of sulfur gas poisoning.
That feels like it's something that could have happened. We're getting yelled at by somebody that's listening right now.
Some scientist is slamming his face off the keyboard.
It's extremely flammable and highly toxic.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Debunked.
Yeah. Well, not debunked, just solved.
Yeah.
We've solved the case.
We solved it.
All right.
You're welcome.
So my Google search history went from how many triangles are there to is hydrogen sulfide toxic? The FBI is so confused. Like, we don't know if he's building a tower out of blocks or building a meth lab.
Yeah. Stop Googling things. Can you get yourself in trouble?
That's all right. I have a VPN set to your house. It's fine.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the next one is 1967. This is December 22nd. It's interesting. These are all like right in the same like 1 or 2 month cluster here.
5 weeks.
Yeah. Pretty weird. But on December 22nd, 1967, Miami hotel owner Dan Burak and Father Patrick Horgan left Miami in Burak's 23-foot cabin cruiser called Witchcraft, planning only a short trip to view the Christmas
Father
lights.
something got on a boat called Witchcraft?
Yeah, there's a lot here in the story where I'm like, this seems like a bad omen.
We would get on that ship.
I have so many questions in the first 2 sentences of this article.
Mm-hmm.
What is this pastor doing hanging out with a Miami club owner on a boat called Witchcraft? This is the strangest combination of of people in transportation vessels I've ever heard.
Well, the purpose for their trip, to answer your question, was just a short trip to view the Christmas lights offshore.
Oh,
So they're
sure.
like,
They were selling bricks of cocaine. Shut up.
They were like, what would be a great vantage point to look at all these Christmas lights aboard the Witchcraft in the Bermuda Triangle.
Way away from them, as far away as you can get.
So, yeah, exactly. At 9:00 p.m., about 1 mile from Miami, Barek radioed the Coast Guard. He said the boat had struck something, but emphasized that it was not an emergency. A rescue vessel arrived at the location within 20 minutes. The Witchcraft, however, had disappeared. No trace of the vessel or its 2 occupants were ever found. One account later summarized, no Danny, no further communication, no boat, no Father Horgan, no debris. No
Are
Christmas.
they sure? Are they sure they knew which craft they were looking for?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Jesse, you're right. This is 100% a drug deal gone bad.
Yeah.
This is 100% what happened.
Yeah. Assuming that that's not the case, right? Let's just look at this at face value and all the facts that we have in front of our...
We are.
Know. we have. We've solved it again.
I think the eerie detail about this one that you kind of gloss over is they hit something. What the fuck did you hit? You're not...
A cartel.
It was a bullet. What the hell was that? But yeah, so just the cartel thing aside, right? They're in a boat looking at Christmas lights and they hit something. Like maybe it could be like a coral reef. I guess they're not too far off. Is there a lot of coral reef in Miami? I have no idea, but I guess they could hit something, but they couldn't identify what they hit, or they didn't identify what they hit. And they said it's not an emergency. Now, if the cartel's shooting at you, you're probably going to be like, yeah, dude, it's an emergency. Please come help.
Not when they get there in time to put the gun to your head and tell them it's not an emergency.
Or not before they haven't dumped all their bricks of cocaine overboard yet.
Yeah.
No rush. No rush. Take your time.
The priest just...
Yeah. I don't know, but that's a weird one too. Going back in time a little bit to 1918, this was in March, the USS Cyclops, a Navy U.S. collier, nearly 550 feet long, disappeared without a trace while traveling from the West Indies to Baltimore. The ship carried 306 people and more than 11,000 tons of ore. That's a big boat. So I feel like 306 people, I feel like out of the 400 something people that have gone missing, I feel like most of them, I don't feel like most of them, it's a mathematical fact that most of those people that went missing were on this one boat. So that
who was on the Cyclops? Odysseus?
Oh, damn.
The USS Najee Harris.
I don't get it.
You don't know what happened to Najee Harris?
Oh, no. Why?
He was involved in a firework accident this past July, and it's actually
Jesus.
This is actually a dark mystery because he has never taken off sunglasses or his visor since then, so nobody knows what his eye looks like right now.
I bet.
So
I bet both of his eyes are just fine.
I don't know, dude. He still hasn't practiced in full at this point.
Yikes! Yeah, losing an eye sucks. But yeah, so ship carried 306 people and more than 11,000 tons of ore. So it's a big boat. That explains why you need such a big ore. Anyways, her last message.
God damn it.
I hate that. Was so much worse than my Odysseus joke, who battled a Cyclops in mythology. It went right hand in hand with the priest on the witch boat.
Yep.
I got no appreciation on this show.
Sorry. The jokes are getting worse. Wrap this episode up, Dave.
Her last message was routine. Weather fail, all well. Weather fair, not weather fail. That would be bad.
Yeah,
weather fair, all is well. No SOS was ever sent, and nothing from the ship was ever recovered. A 1920 feature in Santa Fe magazine described the disappearance. Usually a wooden bucket or a cork life preserver identified as belonging to a ship is picked up after a wreck, but not so with the Cyclops. She just disappeared as though some gigantic monster of the sea had grabbed her, men and all, and sent her to the depths of the ocean. Kind of a sensationalized article there. The U.S. Navy later wrote, the disappearance of the ship had been one of the most baffling mysteries in the annals of the Navy. All attempts to locate her have proved unsuccessful. Now, this one is like...
It's a big ship.
Big ship, 306 people. There was, all that. I guess the ore would have sunk, but something would have turned up in this wreckage, right?
Yeah,
you'd think.
Yeah. And you would think that they actually went out and searched for this one, valiantly.
Yeah, it's a Navy ship. It's a naval ship. There's,
right.
It was 1918, so they don't. I guess in 1918, the best way to find something is you just literally go look for it. There's no technology really, but still weird that there be no wreckage. Anyways, I saved the best one for last, and this one is definitely the craziest of all of them, I think, in my opinion. And this is from 1881. The Ellen Austin was a 210-foot American vessel sailing from London to New York, and it encountered an abandoned ship drifting in the Bermuda Triangle. So for 2 days, the captain of the Ellen Austin, he just observed it, waiting to make contact, trying to figure out what exactly was going on with this boat that was just basically sailing in circles out in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle at the time was not known as the Bermuda Triangle. So after 2 days of watching this thing, the ship approached it, and his crew boarded the vessel. They found it stocked with supplies, but completely deserted. So he placed a few crew aboard the derelict and attempted to bring it to port, but a storm separated the two ships, and the abandoned vessel vanished with the new crew on it, which sucks. But days later, Baker was out in the same area, and he spotted the ship again. He was like, oh shit, there it is. So they sailed up to it, and they boarded the ship and found it was completely empty again. The crew that he put aboard it was gone.
Ooh.
So he put a second crew on the board.
No, come on, bro. What are we
Who
doing?
signed up for that?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, no, dude, I'm good.
I guess you just do what you're told.
Yeah, you do. You do what you're told. But the second prize crew that was sent aboard, along with the ship, were never seen again.
Wow.
We are all shocked.
But people still claim to see this ship, this abandoned ghost ship, and it's one of the ghost ships that kind of haunt the Bermuda Triangle, and people see it from time to time on the horizon.
Well, don't get on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
don't get on it for sure. But yeah, ghost ships and missing planes and missing boats, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sea monsters.
I find the fact that it's like a 5-week window for the majority of these to be the most fascinating part of it.
Yeah, because I don't think we were well aware of that until you brought that up. And that's a very compelling part of the story.
Yeah, these are just 7, or technically we covered 8. Technically we covered 9. So there's only 9 instances out of dozens. So who knows if I happen to just randomly grab a whole bunch that happen to be grouped in the same time period. But it might be kind of interesting to actually like compile all of them and see what the dates were and if they're all kind of in that same general cluster. Although the last one we talked about was in March. So it is expanding a little bit, but still weird that the first 3 were all within 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah.
In March that they came across that ship, we don't know when that ship started doing what it was doing.
I would presume late January.
Yes. It's a good guess.
That'd be my best guess.
Some would say like January 30-ish or something like that.
Yeah.
30-ish.
Precisely, yeah. So yeah, Bermuda Triangle, weird place. It is well, when you're sailing through it, it just feels like a nice section of water.
Meandering
Through it.
Until you disappear.
But yeah, very mysterious.
Shocked it took us this long to get to the Bermuda Triangle, but it worked out.
It did work out. So it's cool. We covered the Bermuda Triangle. And next week or last week, depending on when you're listening to this, if you're on Patreon or not, we're going to cover the actual hauntings on the island of Bermuda. Or we recently covered the hauntings on the island of Bermuda. So go back and listen to that.
Yeah, check that out as well.
Covered all the bases. There you go.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this Dark Mysteries. If you want us to cover any Dark Mysteries, leave it in the comments. Don't correct us because we'll cry. And we'll
unless you count all the triangles. Let us know.
Yeah, tell us how many triangles are. Tell us how big a circle is.
Yeah.
We will talk to you guys next time. Peace.